that killed me during the movie. The number of people, oh, remember to subscribe. I get that all the time now when I go online. Now, before we talk, please hit the subscribe button. It's like, what world? What world do we live in?
It is so nice to meet you. I am such a huge fan of this film. It was so great. I loved it. I wanted to kind of start off by asking you. I mean, you've been involved in like almost 300 projects, So what was it about this one that kind of stuck out and made you want to get involved in it?
I have no idea. I had worked with Ellie Stamen before. On a small project, just a small little project. And I knew he was so smart and so good. And he was the director of this. And so he said, Stephen, what do you think about this? And, they gave me the script, but I trusted him. I trusted him. I put my faith in him. And then I heard about Cherry O'Terry playing my wife. I thought, what could possibly be wrong? And of course, what was wrong was the world was collapsing. When we had our first film meeting, like out the back of a truck, like we were in Burbank somewhere, and we went and we were in our cars because it was the beginning of the pandemic. And I don't know if you remember, the very beginning of the pandemic was everybody was dying. That's all people knew, is that you were dying. You had all the people in the old folks' home dying, all the people in Italy dying. Nobody knew what COVID was, or if it was a monstrous time. So we had our first film meeting. I met Ellie at the back of this building, and they lifted like the back door to the shop, and he was standing there, and I was outside my car, and we were about 20, 25 feet away from each other. And he says, so what do you think about the movie? I go, well, I think it's worth a shot. Great. Okay. And don't worry, we'll make it all safe. We'll make it all safe. Okay. Bye-bye. And it was terrifying. So I thought, well, God, if, in Judaism, Hillel, if I am not for myself, who is? If I am for myself alone, what am I? And if not now, when? So sometimes that if not now, when kind of kicks in my life. And I thought, why not? If I wanted to be an actor, all I want to do is act in things. So now we are at the end of the world. What could be worse than acting with Ellie and Cherry O'Terry? This sounds like a victory. Let's do this. And so we did it. Oh, I couldn't, we had no idea. And then Cherry and I, we shot our scenes for like a couple weeks, something like that, but we were always kept very separate. And we almost never acted with other people in the room. It was a movie made with X's. They put X's on the wall. Look at the X. Those are the people you're talking to, and we'll shoot them later. Like impossible. And so we shot all of our stuff, and then I heard nothing for like a couple of years because they were doing all the 3D animation, which also, Ellie had never really gotten into that before. And the whole movie relies on it, and it depends on it. And then I just saw the movie myself 2 weeks ago, and I loved it because not only does it capture the essence of the essential issue of, is the computer our friend or our enemy? And what is more important, excitement or love? Can we confuse the two? Is there such a thing as true love? Can we use the computer as a tool to find true love? Or is it only a tool for distraction and for wasting time? And all of that permeated through the movie. So it wasn't just a comedy about people looking for love or looking for not love, looking for trouble, and using the computer as a tool for doing that. but it became a whole chronicle of where I think we are with online stuff, and also what's happened with the pandemic and how people have grown apart from the pandemic, and we're used to it now. Like they say, what is it they're saying? Like kids in school, that had the masks on and all that stuff and were kept separate, how now they're having all of these emotional and mental problems from the pandemic and not being able to play with real kids and learning their lessons online with the computer, that there's cognitive problems that these kids have for not being with people, but just being with machines. And I have grandbabies now, and there's nothing they love more than that iPhone. Let me tell you, they are very busy. They want to see Coco Melon on that iPhone, and you succumb and go, okay, we'll just do a little. We'll just do a little. Here's your opium for now. But that's what I got out of the movie. I was proud that we did it. I was proud we did it at a very dangerous time. And once again, I thought Ellie did just a magnificent job of weaving all these stories together with a bunch of actors that were terrified, and then with a bunch of computer graphics to tie everything together. I just thought it was a wonderful job.
Well, this kind of ties into what you were just saying, but also so many of your scenes, especially with Sherry, take place over direct messaging. So I am curious, when you're mostly just typing on a keyboard, is it hard to emote and get into character? Did you have like somebody doing the voiceovers for you? When
we were text messaging, of course, I just did stuff where I'm pretending I'm typing. And sometimes, you didn't want to type because it makes noise over the vocal. So you just have to kind of, like I'm doing now, like not touching the keyboard. And that's acting. So, and then they would have an X to look at on a screen. There's where Cherry's going to be. Hey, how are you? And you would look at the X, a lot of X acting in this. And then it was a lot of my experience personally. When you can't really look outward as an actor, you always learn everything you need to know is in the eyes of your partner. I think Stanislavski said that, but I think it's true that when you're acting, especially on stage or in a movie, if you could look into someone's eyes, and when I was able to look in Cherry's eyes, no problem, because you see everything you need to see, because there's her energy, her lunacy, her absolute willing to go for it all the time, every second. She never phones it in, even when she's phoning it in Love Virtually. Even when she never is phoning it in. So that's always good. But then you just kind of rely upon what you know is true in your life. And the times, the relatively few times I've been on the make, let me see. Let's see if I could remember those. Yeah, they're way back when. And the times I've been to couples therapy, I have been in couples therapy. I have had a series of couples therapists that I learned a lot from. I remember the first time when my first relationship went off the rails, I went to a couples therapist, and I walked into the room. I'd never been in therapy before, never. And they ring a buzzer, and that means you could go through the door, because I didn't know psychiatrists and all these people lock doors all the time because they see crazy people all the time. So they ring a buzzer, and you go in the door, and you walk into the office, and there's the couch. But he's laying on the couch, and there's a folding chair in front of the couch. And he goes, you have to sit in the folding chair. I have to lay on the couch because I have to listen to you people all day long. So this is my first, and so he says, so Stephen, tell me what's wrong. I said, well, I think the love of my life and the relationship is going off the rails. I feel like I'm dying every day. I feel like my heart is not only broken, but I feel like I'm in a million pieces, and I don't know if I can ever collect all the pieces again. And he goes, Stephen, you're a relatively young man. You're successful in your line of work. Women like that you're successful. I think you should go out maybe to some singles bars, pick up some strange women, talk to them, go out and have a sexual experience with them, and come back and tell me about it. And I go, Jack, this sounds like terrible advice. And you're asking me to like hook for you? I mean, am I like going, am I pimping for you, Jack? Do you want these sexual experiences? This sounds just really bad, Jack. And that was like my first experience. So I never really had a ton of respect for couples therapy people. So working off of that, I thought like, well, I will approach all of these people with my grandiosity of, I know what I'm doing and I really don't care what happens to these other people. And I just kind of approach it that way. And the main thing is my relationship to Cherry and whoever I'm communicating with on the computer. That, that's the thing that's going to make me feel alive, is this new relationship I'm developing on the sly on my computer. So those are the two worlds that kind of were conflicting in that for me. And I probably lived most of those for real.
Well, actually, yeah. What I really found interesting about your characters' relationship too is that they think they're fed up with each other, but actually they're really enjoying each other's company. They just don't know it.
Right. It's sometimes you have to look at your partner with new eyes. You have to realize maybe the problems with you is that you're really not seeing what's in front of you. I mean, I've been married now to Anne for, I want to say, 34 years. 34 years. And we have had problems. Little problems were big in that she used to always like watch murder TV shows while I was trying to go to sleep. Like I would have early calls to do the Goldbergs. Like I'd have to get up at like 4 a.m. to get ready to go over to Sony Studios by like 5:30 to start shooting at 6. And she's watching Forensic Files. And I'm going like, baby, please, I'm trying to go to sleep. No, but I love the Forensic Files. I said, I don't care if you love the Forensic Files. I'm just saying I'm trying to go to sleep. And I can't stand these people that are, cutting their wives up into pieces and burying them in oil drums. I can't stand that while I'm trying to go to sleep. Just watch something else. And we would have a fight over or something like that, But boy, let me tell you, when I was in serious trouble, and I had to, my life was on the line. Like I had to go and have heart surgery. That girl came in and one night I was pressing the button. I had this Russian nurse. She was like 7 feet tall. She was like a pole vaulter or something. And she was explaining to me this controller that she gave me. Now, I just had my body cut in two. I can't move. I can hardly do anything. I'm in constant pain. And so this is like you press this button if you need the nurse, and you press this button if you want to watch TV. And if you're dying, you press this button. And it's all on the same controller. So I'm there and I had a docking accident with the pee bottle one night. I was able to reach over to the bottle and there was an accident. And so I needed help getting to the bathroom. And I needed dry clothes, is how terrible this is. So I'm pressing the button for the nurse to come. Pressing the button. Nobody comes. I press the button then for I'm dying to see, get somebody in here. Nobody comes. Nobody comes. Then the Russian comes in about 30 minutes later, and I explained to her I had a docking problem with the pee bottle, and I needed to get new sheets, and I needed clothes. And she says, "You were not dying. You have misused the blue button." The next day, Annie, my wife, came in and called a meeting on the floor. And she says, "Everybody, come here now. Doctors, nurses, here now. What happened last night with my husband is not going to happen again. First thing you're going to do is you're going to put a bed in that room for me. And from now on, you take orders from me. Do you understand?" Now, he can't really talk much now because he's in serious shape, but I can. And you will listen to what I say. Do you understand? Or I'll make your life a living hell. And I go like, for better, for worse, for richer, for poorer, as long as you both shall live. And then you go like, that's my girl. I think in Love Virtually, I think Cherry O'Terry and I, we kind of feel that way about each other, but we just haven't discovered it yet. Nobody has pressed the blue button. You know, we haven't reached that stage where we discover really who we are and what we are for each other. And so we have mistaken diversion for an excitement for love. And I think that's embedded with all the different characters in the movie, you know, which is terrific, you know, that they all are at these different stages of, am I looking for love? Am I not? Or am I just looking for people clicking subscribe and like? That killed me during the movie. The number of people, oh, remember to subscribe. I get that all the time now when I go online. Now, before we talk, please hit the subscribe button. You know, it's like, what world do we live in? So, I mean, I love that in terms of the relationships of the movie. I thought they were all real and they all revealed people at different stages of either falling in love, falling out of love, and where they look for the solutions.
Well, first of all, you sound like you have an amazing wife. Actually, it is time for me to wrap. But oh my gosh, Stephen, thank you so much for chatting with me. It was so great to talk to you about the film.
And it's great talking to you, Rachel. Thank you, too.